Welcome to Spurs Vision TV. Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good what? Good luck. Okay, everybody's good wherever you are in the world. And of course, happy Chinese New Year and Lunar New Year to all those who are celebrating it. Right? Hope all of you guys are well. And before we continue, let me bring on a person doing her debut on Spurs Vision TV at this time. Let me bring on Miss Ash. Hi, Miss Ash. How you doing?
Hi everyone.
Welcome
I'm
to
good. I'm
Spurs
good.
Vision TV. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great to be here. I often do shows with Chang, so I've just been excited to come on. For a really long time, I've been wanting to come on, so
Yeah, that's
I'm
good.
super excited about today.
Yeah. Uh, guys, hope all you guys are well. Chris, you doing well? How's the weather in London, Chris? Not
Grey.
in Essex, actually, not even London, Essex, right? Gray, okay. And
Yeah,
it's
very
been pretty
grey.
great today. Yeah, today's been pretty great around where we are, right, Chang and Dom. I didn't see much of a lot of sunlight in Kuala Lumpur or Cyberjaya. I'm not sure where Dom is staying, right? So
Yes,
let's see how
very,
that
very
goes.
windy
Yeah,
indeed, and also very
yeah,
overcast.
yeah. Overcast today for us too. And how's the weather in Mumbai?
Oh, it's lovely. It's nice and pleasant. Not the sun is out, but it's not too hot. It's
Mm,
perfect weather.
that's good. That's good, right? Since we're gonna wait for more guests to jump on from other clubs, right? Of course, Coach Dom here is actually a Manchester United supporter, right? And Coach Dom has to go around about 8:45 because he's got other matters. Dom is doing a lot of TikTok nowadays, right? Guys, if you're not seen Dom doing his TikTok, Dom, let us know what's your TikTok? Do you call it a channel or do you call it what
It's
do you call it?
a TikTok account, I guess.
TikTok account, okay. TikTok account. Hey, ever since you started TikTok, I don't see you do any more YouTube. What happened?
Well, because it's how to say at the moment now there's a hiatus with our Jom United project on YouTube, but we are getting back soon. We're getting back soon. We're trying to do some podcast kind of thing. So it will be interesting. So right now I'm flying solo doing some TikTok stuff. Easier. It's much easier to manage at the moment now when videos and whatnot, right? Easier for you to edit by yourself, record by yourself. If you have an idea, middle of the night, you can just boop, 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 you can get everything done within like half an hour or so. So yeah, that's the focus at the moment.
Yeah. TikTok is the new thing, right? So YouTube is for old cronies here doing YouTube. Can't stand TikTok. But okay, since the Dom's here, right? So let us get to the first game that we're going to talk about. Let me go to this game, right? Yeah, Villa 1, MU 2, right? Like earlier before we started the show, we were talking about goalkeepers, right? Actually, Dom, Onana did quite well against Aston Villa. I did watch the game, right? So Onana did quite well against Aston Villa. What were your thoughts about that game? I mean, you guys are on a run at the moment, huh? 3 games on what? 3 games what? 3 you're on a winning streak, right? 4 games already, overall.
Let me put it this way. Manchester United, we haven't been defeated since the beginning of 2024. That's an achievement for us. Look out.
Okay. That's why at the moment now, of course, later most of we were with Dom around and let's say, I'm not sure. Okay. Hi, Keshav, how are you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah, I know you're pissed off, right? I'm waiting for Money to hop on and let's see what happens then. Oh dear. But at the moment, we're just talking about the Manchester United game. Okay. I'll go to Chris first, right? Since we're talking Manchester United, I'll come to Dom last because he's the Manchester United fan. Chris, did you watch the Aston Villa Manchester United game? Because for us Spurs fans, right, we were hoping for you guys to actually beat Aston Villa. You get what I'm saying? So we could still maintain that fourth spot. So let me get Chris thoughts on that game. Villa 1, MU 2.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, as you say, we was hoping that Aston Villa would do us a favour, or Man U do us a favour, whatever. It was either one was, a draw would have been more perfect, I suppose. But yeah, it was a good game. Man United, they scored some good goals, and it was, it was. I mean, I didn't see a lot of the game. I just saw the highlights. But yeah, what I saw, they're much in control, and I didn't think Villa turned out.
Yeah, Villa did. That's it. Villa more or less had a lot of chances. Villa missed a lot of chances, and of course, with Onana saving a lot of, saving Manchester United, for a few times, as I saw it, right? So we have to give the plaudits to Manchester United, because Manchester United beat Villa at home. I'm sorry, away, right? And we lost to Villa at home, if I'm not mistaken, right? Even dominating the game. So I'll give that kudos to Manchester United. Miss Ash, did you watch the Villa MU game?
I did watch it. I think Villa will rue all of the chances that they missed. But overall, I do think that United deserved to win that. Like, they showed, like more fight than they've been showing in the past couple of, at least in the second half of last year. And this year, I feel like maybe the whole Ineos takeover and some of the things that they've been doing, there seems to be more optimism around the club, because I feel like the players are now playing for the club, which is why they're seeing better results. Because they always had the players, they just had to like get it together and become a team. So I'm hoping this is not one of those times when it's like a key turnover for them, because they have not beaten a top six team for the last at least this season. I think they haven't beaten a top six team. Villa is their first victory against the top six team. So I do hope this is not a time when they start picking up some form and challenging us for that top four, because we have a few difficult games in April. So I'd like to have that cushion intact of points.
Fair. And Keshav, do you watch the Villa game?
No, I didn't catch up with the Villa game. I watched the highlights of it. And to sum it up overall, I would say Scott McTominay saved them. It seems to be the fact that I think almost every game Scott McTominay's there for Manchester United. He's like their so-called savior for them. And I mean, he's a very I would call him as a very energetic midfielder. You want him in that team. I think he gives that, especially when you need a goal to come back. He's the type of guy you need. And I think, Aston Villa had few good chances, but I think they're slowly slipping up. They're actually very slowly slipping up. Man United they won 3-0 against us last week. They're getting some momentum. Hoyland scoring the goals, and they're slowly climbing up the table. As long as they can get in those positions and just stay there, then it's good for them. But yeah, I didn't catch up with the game, so no comments on that.
All right. And before I come to Dom, right, I'll come to Mani. Mani, how you doing?
Yeah, all good, thank you. Sorry I'm a bit late. I actually typed the address incorrectly in my browser. But let me say, as always, salamat datang to you and everyone on the panel. And to those of you who can't speak a word of Malay, good evening, good afternoon, greetings. Good to be back on your show, Eugene. Thank you, sir,
Mani.
as always.
Thanks for being on. Right. And Mani, where are you in Mumbai at the moment?
No, I live in Madras. That is, of course, it's the Tamil hotspot, really. And I think I remember telling you, obviously, that given the huge Tamil population in Malaysia, if I were to come over there to work, either there or Singapore, I'd feel pretty much at home, to be honest.
Yeah, that's true. Just meet Ash, right? Ash is actually from Mumbai. Yeah. So, yeah.
Hi.
Both you guys from India. All right. Come back to the football, right? The Villa Manchester United game, Mani, did you get to watch it? Any comments on it?
Well, I didn't watch it particularly, and one thing I will say is that despite being an Arsenal fan, Aston Villa are a team that pretty much, they pretty much have a piece of my heart in a way, obviously because they're coached by the ex-Arsenal manager, Unai Emery, and of course, as some people may or may not know, I happen to be a huge admirer of the former Arsenal goalkeeper, who was, of course, their number one, Emiliano Martinez. I think Kesha pretty much hit the nail on the head when he said that Villa are starting to slip up a little bit. And what's happening with Villa these days is that, you know, the lightness of their squad is really, really starting to take their toll. And I remember saying that in as much as they've been performing magnificently in the first half of the season, unless they address the issues with their squad depth, they're not really going to have as magnificent a season as people would hope for. Nobody expected them to challenge for the title. Not very many people thought that they would be in a position to qualify for the Champions League. But I mean, of course, as of my speaking, I believe they're now fifth. But a lot of people have said that, with several players set to come back from injury, I do believe the likes of Digne and a few others will be, Torres as well, especially. The defense will look a little bit stronger because I'll tell you what, and I'm sorry to have to say this, Eugene, but Clement Longley, and I realize that he used to play for Tottenham, he quite simply has not been able to cut the mustard. I have to
That's why
say
we never
this.
got him back. Yeah, we never got him. That's why we never wanted Longley, right? He was not our.
Yeah.
He was more like I don't know, stopgap kind of scenario where during the Conte time, when Conte wanted the quality defender, and somehow or other we picked someone from Barcelona who was supposed to be a quality defender. Didn't turn out too well for us, right? Okay, we'll come to Coach Dominic. No, I guess you should be. Sorry.
I did actually have a few things I wanted to say, and so I mean, obviously, the joke I have is that his name is Longley. Maybe he has so long a leg, he's so clumsy he can't walk, leave alone defend. And hopefully, for Aston Villa's sake, once those injured players come back, they will start performing a bit better. But the big worry is that several of their players have played, far too many minutes this season. It's scary, and they also are at risk of getting an injury. But one thing I do like about Emery and Aston Villa is that they do have the ability, the knack of being able to recover from a slump in form to be able to go on another decent run and end up finishing a season strongly. They did that last season. As for Manchester United, Keshev has said that they're starting to get a little bit of momentum back, but I just think that the dreadful start that they had at the beginning of the season, I think that really will cost them. It is good to see Andre Onana starting to, get his act together, but I still consider him to be a fairly overrated goalkeeper. Of course, I might be a little bit biased, but obviously, both teams still have ambitions of qualifying for the Champions League. Aston Villa still have European football via the Conference League. I still do believe that Emery's got Aston Villa playing some really good football, and they're experiencing some wonderful times. So, there's still plenty to go in the season, and Villa still have some games to play, in which they will fancy their chances, as will, of course, Manchester United. So, a lot to play for. Sorry about that, Dom.
Yeah, no problem. Oh, Dom, yeah. Coming back to Dom. Dom, I guess we were talking earlier, right? Manchester United has not lost yet in the 2024 year, right? Like what Mani's been saying, you're picking up momentum. Do you have confidence, that you guys are going to be able to maintain this, or is this just the new ownership bounce?
No, I think it's not so much about the new ownership, Ineos coming into the picture. I don't think so. I think the main reason behind all of this is because we finally get our first 11 being fit for the first 3 games of this new year. Wolves, West Ham, and also Aston Villa. But the issue now, it's our squad depth. As you can see, that particular Wolves game, right? Pretty much everyone played solid apart from Onana, I would say. Onana picked up his form since West Ham, and then of course with this Aston Villa game, he played pretty damn well, right? But the issue now, right, creeping in, we can see Lisandro Martinez is out, okay, and right now Luke Shaw is also out of the picture, and you can actually see the decline in the play, especially the first half and the second half. When Luke Shaw was in defense without Lisandro Martinez, we were still okay. The way that we were actually playing that day against Aston Villa, pretty much we were using the same reactive style of football against West Ham. We were absorbing pressure, we weren't really going very aggressive attacking. We weren't really pressing high up because we were afraid of the counter attacks and whatnot. Okay, so when came the second half, especially when Luke Shaw came out of the picture and we had to replace Lindelof in left back, a right-footed centre back playing in left back position, you can actually see the decline in the style that we are in. I mean, the way that we were actually playing. Okay, and then of course Scott McTominay. Scott McTominay, I don't think he's that much of a game changer, so to speak. I wouldn't. I mean, if West Ham you want to take it, go ahead. You take it. You can take him. I think Kishaf is pretty impressed with Scott McTominay. We can actually sell it to you. Not a problem. Okay,
Yeah, but wait. Tom, didn't Scott McTominay wanted to leave in the summer, right?
Yeah, we wanted to sell Harry Maguire and also Scott McTominay to West Ham. The package, I think, offered was about like maybe 70 mil for both, or somewhere around that ballpark. But then we wanted more, around maybe like 40 for each player and whatnot. So thank God we didn't sell them for this season. Probably their market value already skyrocketed, especially Harry Maguire. So our issue right now, again, it's the fitness level of our first 11. The moment we take out any players, especially Lisandro Martinez, you can actually see the decline in the game. Okay, again, we compare West Ham and Aston Villa. We played really pretty much the same style. We gave a lot of space to West Ham. West Ham couldn't do anything. Mohamed Kudus couldn't do anything. You get the ball, but you couldn't do anything. We were so solid at the back. Okay, but then come the Aston Villa game, we were very, very shaky. To be honest, we were very shaky. So is this a sign of like we are building momentum? I don't think so. Because Luke Shaw, he's having some the first half complaining that he had some issues with his leg. Okay, discomfort in his leg. So as a precaution, we took him out. But I doubt he will be playing much moving forward for the balance of 14 or 15 games. So we will have an issue there. Okay, the spirit is there. The confidence, I'm sure it's there. The players, they are fighting for the manager or fighting for the jobs, probably. Because with the new ownership coming in, right, they have to prove their worth. Because with, of course, Dan Ashworth coming into the picture, and of course, Omar Barada in the picture, if you are not performing, if you have been in United for 1-2 seasons, you'll be sold off, you'll be moved on, just like City. So probably they are fighting for their lives at the moment. So overall, again, I'm worried. If that is there a style of play, definitely. If you were to compare this from the start of the season, definitely. Because the main players, they are back now. Okay, but then moving forward, I'm worried. I'm very, very worried at the moment.
You're still worried, right? But to tell the truth, right? I've been listening to Talk Sports and all that. They've been saying, Harry Maguire demands respect again. The fans were jumping on his back, right? And a lot of people saying, will Manchester United go on a run and push Aston Villa or push Aston Villa, push Spurs, and maybe be able to push up to even Arsenal, right? To get a run into the top 4, right? I mean, top 4 is not a trophy, but it seems nowadays everybody wants to get in the top 4 because of the money. Because if I'm not mistaken, next Champions League when it starts, right? Just qualifying for the Champions League in the main game group stages, it's 60 million euros in the bank, just to qualify for the Champions League. Not even counting to play the games and whatever bonuses you'll get. So the money is there. The clubs are actually chasing the money, right? But do you see Manchester? I mean, you say you don't feel confident, but do you actually feel that you guys can actually push for a top 4 or maybe top 5, right? Even if top 5 with the coefficient points being counted nowadays, it's either you need Liverpool to win the Europa League and Manchester United to win the Champions League, we get the extra spot, right? But before you answer me, Dom, just let me make a big shout out to the people in the chats, right? Aniban, right? Big up, guys. He's a Chelsea fan. Of course, Chris Peters, right? Big up to Chris Peters, right? Thanks for being on the show. Right, Dom, do you think you will give us a run for our money, or do you really feel not that confident that maybe you might be able to scrape into Europa League, that's all?
Realistically, right now for the top 4 battle, we have Manchester United, Aston Villa, and probably Spurs at the moment. Okay, so I would say, again, back to the injury issue, I think it will inhibit our ability to be confidently go into the top 4. But then, right, if you look at Aston Villa, I believe Aston Villa will be slipping soon because they have injuries of their own. Even Spurs also, you have injuries of your own also. And you guys are playing more games than us, is it? So it's a battle of who can actually stay fit and maintain their first 11.
Wait, Dom. We are playing the same amount of games. We are not in Europe too. So you guys are out of Europe. We are playing the same amount of games.
Aston Villa. Sorry.
Aston Villa, because Aston Villa is still in the Conference League, right? And
Yes.
we still don't see whether they were able to cope in the last leg of the season, the Conference League, and of course the Premier League. Whether they'll be able to maintain that, like Mani was saying, right? They are more or less like a first 11 team too. Now everyone is like, Manchester United is a first 11 team. You guys are, teams are looking like Spurs nowadays. We Spurs fans have been always complaining we only have the first 11. Beyond the first 11, we are actually, I don't want to say the bad word, right? We don't look good after that. But somehow or another, summer transfer window, January transfer window, we are slowly rectifying that problem. But I'm not sure how far away Manchester United are from that. And of course, Arsenal is supposed to be more or less the finished product. Right now, supposed to be charging for the title, and Arsenal is still in the Champions League. West Ham, you guys are still in the Europa, if I'm not mistaken, right? Kesha?
Yes.
Yeah. And to tell the truth, being a West Ham fan, your position now compared to last season is so much better. But the West Ham fans are going crazy. Of course, we'll go to the next game that we'll talk about, right? Which is actually this one. I don't think Kesha will be too happy, but yeah, West Ham 0 at home, right? 0 at home. Arsenal 6. Okay. Before I go to Mani and Keshav, I'll just go through the other guests first. I'll get to Dom. Dom, did you watch that game? Was it just a complete whitewash of West Ham?
Totally. I wasn't expecting that scoreline of 6-0. It was just like totally just a training game. Or maybe playing with a bunch of kids. Sorry, no offense, but that was the truth, lah. And I think, right, this will actually put a lot of pressure on David Moyes, lah. I think he's probably on his way out, and I don't see how he can actually recover from this, to be honest.
To tell the truth, to me in the end, it's just like 3 points shared because West Ham beat Arsenal earlier, right? So, and they go back and to lose, yeah. Twice, they beat Arsenal.
Yeah, because I think there was a cup. Wasn't there? There was something else that they've beaten Arsenal at. I forget now.
Yeah, Carabao
Yes,
Cup.
the League Cup.
Yeah,
League Cup. Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Okay.
League Cup, right?
Yeah. So I guess it's like but of course losing. I did watch the game in the beginning, right? But when the first goal went in, like within the first 5-10 minutes, and then the second goal went in after that shortly, I was going, it's over, right? But when I didn't expect to read the news again, it was 6-0. So that was giving me quite a shock. So, but I think that is an Arsenal record, if I'm not mistaken, right? 6-0 away win for Arsenal is an Arsenal record, right? But okay, Chang, the Arsenal West Ham Arsenal game. Any thoughts?
All I can say about that game was the first half, which I watched. The opening goal by William Saliba against West Ham from the corner. That was a well-worked corner. You could see that Arsenal have clearly been working on their set pieces. But the second goal by Saka from the penalty spot, you could look at the stats and argue that maybe there is some favoritism or maybe some biasness towards certain clubs. But the number of penalties that Arsenal have been raking up this season is just, it leaves people wondering why are Arsenal so good at getting penalties and converting them to maybe extend their lead or even get a late lead or late winner. That first half itself, 4 Arsenal goals to end the first half 4-0 up. I believe it was Gabriel and then Leandro Trossard who rounded up the 4-0 before halftime. The game was well over before halftime. You could see West Ham fans leaving the London Stadium. No offense to you, Keshav. I know being a diehard Spurs fan and West Ham fan, I know you have watched the game to the end, but it's just sad to see home fans leaving the ground at halftime, even before the second half has kicked off. And that just summed up the supremacy that Arsenal were completely on top for the entire first half. And the second half was merely just a formality, the way the first half had been going on. I was surprised that David Moyes didn't put on some substitutions before the end of that first half. He did bring on Calvin Phillips. Correct me if I'm wrong, Keshav. He brought on Calvin Phillips and another Greek player. I can't remember who it was, but it was Calvin Phillips and also
And
another
Mavropanos.
defender on for Kurt Zuma.
Yeah,
Yes, that's the
Mavropanos.
one. He came on for Kurt Zuma, and I thought that maybe West Ham will be able to get at least maybe a consolation goal, but at the end of the 90 minute the full time 6-0. I mean that score is a bit flattering if you ask me. West Ham didn't really impose themselves on that game. I felt that the midfield and also the forward lines let the home crowd down a lot on the day. And it's exactly what Mr. Coach Dom was saying earlier, that it was almost like a training session. The way Arsenal were just toying with the West Ham midfield and defense. From
Mhm.
what I saw uh, on the highlights and also on the occasional few minutes that I watched in the second half. But overall, I think Arsenal definitely deserve the points for the game. And in terms of David Moyes, his tenure, his stay now at West Ham, that will come under a lot of scrutiny. It would take a very drastic or very dramatic turn of events or even a string of results to keep him in the job, if I were to be completely honest. But season is still not over yet. We still have about more than one third of it to go. So a lot of things can still happen from between now to the end of the season. And for me, as a neutral, I'm not trying to side with anyone here, but as a neutral, David Moyes actually has still a lot to offer for West Ham. If you look at the Conference League that he just won recently for West Ham, I still feel that David Moyes has a lot to offer, but the players themselves need to step up massively.
Mhm. Fair, fair, right? And to tell the truth, right? Uh, I guess with Liverpool in the Europa League, right? So I guess winning the Europa League could be a bit too far for them to reach for, right? But if you do, then maybe Kesha will be moist in again, right? Because Kesha has been flipping back and forth between moist out and moist in recently. But before we get to Kesha and Mani, Chris, Mr. Agamba, any thoughts on that game?
Yep. Well, I listened to some of it on the radio. I mean, I
All
just
right.
turned it off, so halfway through the first half because you just knew it was gonna end up like a big score like that. Yeah, I mean, according to the radio, I mean the defense just didn't turn up. They were so out of shape, and you know the penalty as well. The goalkeeper, you know, fouling the player. Yeah, so it was, you know, it was a poor game from West Ham, and they should have made changes sooner. Definitely, try to do something with the game,
Okay.
but they just didn't. They just didn't turn up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I know.
Arsenal just
Yeah,
overran
of
them.
course. Yeah, I mean, of course, us being Spurs fan, we actually hope West Ham would do something for us, to actually not even
Yeah,
say beat Arsenal because they already beaten Arsenal, at least hold them to a draw or something, right? But it is what it is. The score turned out to be that way, but of course now the hurt will be more on the West Ham fans, and of course the Arsenal fans are now getting a high because they seem to think that they're going to be going on a run. But I guess Mani will come up with a different narrative later. But let me get to Ash first. Ash, the West Ham game. Any kind of thoughts on it?
Honestly, I stopped watching after the first half. I was like, there's no coming back from 4-0. There's no point watching the rest of this game. And the only reason I was watching anyway was I was hoping Arsenal would drop points. But they were cutting through West Ham like a knife through butter. And honestly, West Ham just did not turn up. There was nothing in them there was just they offered nothing. I don't think Kudus offered anything. Uh, who's ahead of Kudus? Bowen. I don't think Bowen was trying. I thought he was the only person who kind of tried, but at least for like the first 20 minutes or so. But I think after a while he also gave up. It was a complete washout. I was utter and total dominance. I think
Mhm.
Arsenal deserved that 6-0. In fact, I'm really surprised that it was a 6-0. I But when it was 4-0 up, I thought it'd be another 4 goals in the next half. It looked like it was going to be a total and utter demolition, which it was. Uh,
Yeah,
I
okay.
I have to say, Arsenal. I was saying they. they've been playing a little stodgy for the last, since when they started, they were not the Arsenal we saw last season for a bit. It looked a little weird. Odegaard and Rice didn't seem to be clicking with each other in the midfield as much, even though individually I rate them as players. But I do think that in this game, like the last couple of games, we're seeing that the midfield seems to have clicked into gear. Um, and now their forwards have more goals as well. So I feel like this is the starting of a run that I really don't want to see. Like I can,
Mhm.
if can I go hide in a closet somewhere until the season is over, and I know the result.
Okay, okay. Dom, Arsenal being so dominant, right? Because I guess among us sitting down here, Manchester United and Arsenal have a history that goes back, right? What were you feel? What were your feelings, right? Do you think Arsenal now will actually have a run at the title, right? Because now they're saying this is a three-horse race between Arsenal, Liverpool, and Manchester City.
To be honest, right, any Manchester United fan would want Arsenal to win the league this year rather than Man City. If Man City wins it, they'll win it 4 times in a row. Liverpool, let's not talk about Liverpool. 20 times, you'll never hear the end of it. So we are really, really hoping that Arsenal do their job and they don't bottle it. The last time I think they went on 246 days, right, top of the league and whatnot, and they bottled it, right? So this time around, I'm actually praying so hard because I wasn't expecting them to make a comeback, in this sense. But they're actually doing their job, and Arteta in. Keep Arteta. Keep Arteta.
That's fair. That's fair. Big up Daniel Yee. Big up Danny. How you doing? Hope you're well. And of course to Ben Kaufman. Good afternoon. Big up. Big up. Ben
Hey.
from Tottenham on tour. Right. If I'm not mistaken, if this Dan Eve, he's from Hotspur Hood. Right, guys. Please give a like and
Oh,
subscribe
no,
to.
no, no. Daniel E is different from Danny.
Okay, Daniel is different from Danny. So okay, Daniel, you sorry, my bad. But of course, please go to give a subscribe to Tottenham on tour, and of course the coffee company for Ben Kaufman's channel, right? But okay, who should I pick first now, right? Should I go to Mani or should I go to Keshav? Because okay, I'll go to the victor, Mani, because Mani will have a lot of good insights on this game, right? Mani, do you think Arteta has actually gotten things right now? Do you think you guys are going to move forward and actually challenge for a title?
One swallow does not a summer make. We've seen this time and time again. Even last season, we had our set share of sensational victories. But then, come March and April, we have this sort of, this slump again, where we play some really ridiculous games and get some poor results. It's happened before. And I don't know if you can necessarily call it post-traumatic stress disorder, but I am not about to, bang the drum based on the win against the West Ham team that I do normally rate under David Moyes. But I think Keshav will agree with me that in recent times they've not really been in the best of form and have not been playing the way we know they can play. The irony is, this season they become I wouldn't say a wonderful team, but they become a very efficient, fine team with the acquisitions that they've made from the Declan Rice transfer. And speaking of him, what a comeback to the London Stadium for him. A sumptuous goal for which he refused to celebrate. And well done to him for showing the class not to celebrate, even though I think West Ham's fans were booing him. But I think Keshav will agree with me that there will always be a very special place in the hearts of the Hammers faithful for Declan Rice. I mean, European trophy winning captain, you just don't burn your bridges with a guy like that, and I'm sure he would never want to burn his bridges. He wouldn't want to burn his bridges with West Ham either. Now, I actually missed the first 20 minutes or so, Eugene, of that game because I was still at the gym and coming back late. But when I turned on the telly, it was still 0-0, and I was thinking, this promises to be a decent game. And credit to West Ham for keeping things tight because Arsenal were starting to press. But what amazed me was that when that first goal went in with Saliba rising high, I swear it was as if, everything just collapsed, and it was really inexplicable to see. And we were continuing to press really hard. And certainly, again, in both the Liverpool and West Ham games, we showed that when we are on the back, when we, put our opponents on the back foot, we are able to play really well, and when we have the right combination of players, we can do a really good job. And well done to Arteta as well for showing the focus to drop Jorginho even after he put in a fine display against Liverpool. And the only problem is his replacement, Kai Havertz, did sweet bugger all really. And it was a game where it was very, very hard to pick out a player who had a bad game. Although, I mean, Kai Havertz is probably the only one I can think of who had a bad game. And credit, of course, to David Raya for preventing West Ham from getting any kind of a consolation near the end. And credit to West Ham, they did fight back hard. It was just a case of us, really getting things correctly done. And we know that when we can play like that, we I wouldn't necessarily say that we are unstoppable, but we are definitely an irrepressible team at the best of times. The only problem is sometimes we just get complacent. We just think that, because we did so well, we turn up against a team like a Southampton or a Bournemouth and just allow them to outplay us. And I know we beat Bournemouth last season, but that particular win, I would say, was the beginning of the end, as we celebrated that win as if we had won the Champions League, calling it the stuff of champions. But in reality, we're very lucky to get that. And that is one of the issues that I have with the team and the fans. You cannot celebrate until it's over. And I also have to say, I know that a lot of Arsenal fans are going to, mock me for this, but shame on Mikel Arteta for overdoing the celebration. You haven't won jack except for that FA Cup since coming to the club, and you have the nerve to milk it as if you've beaten that amazing team. I think he might have done the same thing when we beat Manchester City at the Emirates as well. But we still have a lot of tough tests. We've got to go to Old Trafford and play. We've got to play Chelsea at the Emirates, who are looking as though they're starting to come back under Poch a little bit. And yes, of course. I remember inviting you on Del Boy Gunner's stream, and you were pleased as peppermint tea. And but credit to you, sir, you never rubbed it in, and that's why once Del Boy ends up having a show, and we do a show for the North London Derby, you are definitely welcome back, and I will try and make sure you get back on. And but listen, we still have far to go, and West Ham, I think. Again, I'd be very wary of, really doing anything to David Moyes. And I still think that in as much as the football may not necessarily be attractive, he still has them performing a little bit well. And this season, for the most part, they have done really well. Kudus, Ward-Prowse and Bowen have looked magnificent. I do think that the Daniel E, spot on. And shame on Arteta and Edu and the people involved for not working harder to get that elusive goal scorer. It's fine to say that you can spread the goals around, but all of these big titles have in history been won by teams with those big goal scorers. Where's our Alan Smith? Where's our Ian Wright? Where's our Thierry Henry?
Mm-hmm. Right.
Robin van Persie. But look, all I can say is that it was two fine performances by Arteta. He did do well tactically, and yet we just know, and that's why I'm sorry to say this, Dom. I'm not going to be Arteta in until he wins something. And if this season he wins something, then you can bet that next season we are going to really turn the heat on him, because in the infinite lack of wisdom of the club, they've seen it fit to offer him a new deal. So there are still many, many tests to take, and you just know that Liverpool obviously are going to continue to bounce back, and we cannot afford to drop any more points, because neither Liverpool nor City are going to drop points. And Manchester City, I will say this, are one of the best second-half teams. As any sprinter or marathon runner will tell you, it's not the first half of the distance you run, it's the second half of the distance you run, how you pace yourself beforehand and then power through near the end. And City have shown that they are peerless in that regard. But I'm prepared to enjoy the win. I was prepared to enjoy the win, but I will say I'm not going to rub it in and say that West Ham are rubbish like a few other YouTubers have done, and shame on them. I'm always very magnanimous, and I will say that West Ham will still have more good games this season than bad games. You were just caught cold, and I would perhaps say a little bit, unprepared and left shaken up a little bit. But I know that West Ham will recover. So That's as far as I can go.
Okay. And to tell the truth, maybe maybe the players have got that Europa Cup, round of 16 games or 32 games in their mind at the moment. That's why that's the kind of performance. And you were saying, right, they held on for about 20 minutes, and when that goal went in, everything seems to collapse, right? So now I'll come to Kesha. Kesha will have his rant, right, on Moyes and all that, which he's been doing for the past nearly 1.5 years on this channel. Kesha, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Nice to come back on the show. It's been quite long. I think few months ago since I came back, but nice to come back. It was that game was it actually was a very tough day for me, because I mean for all the fans, because it's been a long time, not to say long time coming, but I'll put it this way, it's not nice losing like that. The feeling you get after losing 6-0 to Arsenal, it's that you get it's the fact that you get depressed. It's the fact that you get so, I was watching the game. I thought the first 15 minutes, I thought we were hanging on well. I thought we had chances. I thought we created them really well. And then after that, Arsenal started to have the ball more. They started to dominate, and I was very worried with the tactical nuance, the passing, and how they playing. They're able to cut through us, meaning our defense. And once the corner went in, I mean, I don't know how Alvarez couldn't defend that Saliba. And I thought when the first goal went in, I was very nervous. I'm saying, I hope they don't score after that. And then the second goal came in, and then the third goal came in, and I was like, this is not good. I think, and then the fourth goal came in. I was going to walk off already, because I was really angry. That already hit me already because that is not how West Ham play. Okay, this season we lost 4-1 to Aston Villa. We lost 5-1 to Fulham. 5-1 to Fulham, 5-1 to Liverpool in the cup, and now 6-0 to Arsenal.
Yeah. But catch up. Hold on for a while. Let me, Dom, you got to make a move, right?
Yeah, I gotta go and do some
I saw
daily
your
duty.
coming in. Yeah, Chinese New Year, I know you. Yeah, gotta go and do things with your family. But before you go, give a shout out to your TikTok channel and all that. What you gonna do, right, for Manchester United and supporting Onana?
You can check us out on Jom United on TikTok and also on YouTube. And also, we'll keep the faith, lah. We'll fight for top four. And Arsenal, please don't bottle it. Please, you can do it.
No, we can't. We've been here before, right. Dom. I love your optimism on our behalf, but I'm sorry, mate. It's not going to happen.
All right, take care, Dom. I'll catch you later. Okay, sorry, Keshav. Go ahead. Continue.
No, it's fine. After that 4-0, and to see the fans leaving, I mean, I was looking at Twitter and I was seeing the video of the fans leaving the London Stadium, and I was like, and I can, as a fan, I can completely understand the reason to leave. You're losing 4-0 to Arsenal. You're giving that type of football to the fans. And, okay, yes, I've stood by Moyes a lot. Yes, he's won us a trophy. Yes, he's done a lot. But I've already, like most West Ham fans, I'm very tired of this. I know a lot of people say that results matter. You need to win. Style of play doesn't matter. Look, Aston Villa have great players and they're playing really well with the style of play. Tottenham are playing well under Ange Postecoglou. Liverpool, Man United, whichever club, they play well. But when it comes to West Ham, it's like we don't have this. We always are a team that's defensive, and I'm actually very tired of it. We have players that need to have the freedom to play, and I feel like Moyes is constraining them. It's like you're not letting you have luxurious plays in your side, and you're not making the use of it. Instead of he's playing them in a counter-attacking system. Yeah, he can. It's like I feel like he's relying too much on them, And when you have our bench, which he's not using. You have Danny Ings, Corney, you have what's his name, youngsters on the bench, which he's not a big fan of. He doesn't use our academy, and he we have aging players in that squad. So there's a lot of issues which I feel like it's already hit the boiling point for me, that I feel we the fans pay a lot of money to go to the stadium. It's a big seater stadium. We need to play entertaining football, and the football that he's giving us, it's not sustainable. Yes, it can be sustainable for short term, and he has worked out. Don't get me wrong. Against Arsenal, yeah, we won 2-0 with playing this type of football. But I'm sorry, when you keep playing this type of football, eventually Arsenal or whichever team will come play us will carve us apart, and it exactly happened to last week. And credit to Arsenal, they punished us. If we keep defending like that, and I was reading an article, I think it was from Sky Sports, and they said that it said that I think West Ham are the least team that presses the most. We don't. We are the team that invites the most pressure. We are not the team that presses the most. You see, Liverpool press, Tottenham press, Brighton press. We are the lowest in terms of that, and we are the lowest in terms of possession. So that tells you that we are not a possession team. We are more of a counter-attacking team. And I'm actually Moyes, and there's no hiding for Moyes here. Yes, he can keep saying all he wants that we didn't play well. It was a shit day for us and whatever type of stuff. But when I look at the bigger picture, he's saying that he wants to negotiate contracts with the board. Okay, fine. Last 2 months ago, we won against Arsenal, and that was a good time. We are doing well, and since then, nothing has happened because we know we have not won in 2024. When was the last time we won this year? We have not won yet, and
You haven't won in before yet. All right.
we've not won in 2024. We have drawn against Brighton, Bournemouth. We've lost against Man United 3-0. We've lost against Arsenal 6-0. So I'm already saying Moyes out because I'm actually tired. I'm tired of the football. And I feel I can completely understand the fans' judgment. Yes, I'm happy he's won the trophy. I'm very grateful for all that. But I feel like West Ham need a rejuvenation. It's time. We are not using academy. He's
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah.
like it's like I know the board very well. Don't get me wrong. The board they like to spend money on transfers, yeah, and they've spent a lot of money. But don't okay. Let me give you facts here. Moyes has spent almost 500 million on transfers during his reign at West Ham. Okay, let me tell you that
Seriously,
close to
500 million.
500 million. I think at the start, and he doesn't know. I feel like he's. If you give him like a Sheffield United team or Burnley or that type of team, he can do it. I feel he can. But what I feel West Ham have reached the ceiling where you need to go to the next level, and I just don't think he can take us there.
Okay,
That's why
fair. Okay, while you're going on that, right, the next level, right? Ben Kaufman says this, right? West Ham need a new direction, right? They should appoint Graham Potter now. I mean, get rid of Moyes, right? Lower your Moyes up thing, and it suits them as a football club because he uses the academy and that as well. Would you take Graham Potter at yours
no,
in your
no,
as your manager?
no. I wouldn't
Won't
take.
take Graham Potter.
Why I wouldn't take is, you see, the problem with that is our board loves out of contract managers. You see, Jose Mourinho is out right now, Graham Potter's out, Conte's out, all these free agents. This is the problem with the board. I want managers like Ruben Amorim from Sporting, or
Oh,
like
Zabi
they.
Alonso.
You know what I find weird, Eugene? We pay money for transfers for players, but we can't seem to be able to pay compensation for managers. That's what I'm finding very weird about our board. We can't pay a compensation fee to get a manager of the club. I mean, we got our director of football in. He's come up with an interview saying that, Liverpool are targeting him right now, and his relationship with Moyes is not good. Yes, I've been reading a lot of reports saying that he of course, maybe as a West Ham fan, I know he's been in the ground at the stadium, he talks with Moyes and all that, but behind the scenes he rejects a lot of Stidens targets. He we were close to getting this youngster from I forgot, the Danish club, and our owner completely blocked the deal because it was a wrong agent or something like that. But still, our director of football wants to have a vision at the club. And if you're not allowing our director of football to do things, then what's the point of having the director of football to have that authority, the freedom to do things? And when you have a manager like Moyes there, who's, I would say, not to say outdated manager, but has outdated tactics. He's not used to modern day type of managing football tactics, the latest upcoming young players and all that. It's very difficult because you see, when you give him a youngster, he won't accept. But somebody like an experienced player, he'll accept.
Okay.
And
But okay, the other thing is like, like what Ben is saying again, right? Ever since you sold Rice, right? And you haven't been able to replace him, but wasn't that your midfielder, wasn't Paqueta? Right? Supposed to be the one supposed to fill the void, or is Paqueta more of a number 10? Right? And of course,
so
Ben
Paqueta
is
is
saying
more of a
Porter,
number 10.
yeah, Paqueta is more of a
Yeah,
number 10. Yeah, so that
I
means
cannot.
you've lost your midfield, your midfield captain, the dynamo there and all that. But Ben says Potter could turn West Ham around since what you said that you don't want Potter, but well, you
No,
never know. If you do sack Moyes, let's say, okay, because the Conference League game is coming up this week, right? And if you guys lose badly, I think the trigger will be pulled. If I see that, but if
we're not playing Conference League, Eugene. We are in Europa
sorry,
League.
Europa League, sorry, yeah,
Yeah,
the
so you have
Europa
to
League,
wait for
you guys in the
group.
Europa League, yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
if you do well in the Europa League, right, I think Moyes will stay on. But if you do badly in this Europa League, right, I mean, getting kicked out in the next round and all that, then that could be the trigger being pulled, right? And of course, I'll say big up to Haziq, right? He's got his Spurs hat on, right? And of course, Elias, big up to you too, right? Of course, Ben has said Bobby K, good morning, big up to you guys. And of course, to Nick, how you doing, Nick? Haven't seen you in a long time, hope you're well, right? And the rest of it, the messages of the guys are saying hi to each other. But Kesha, at this moment in time, you've been on my shows for a very long time, right? And for the whole of the last season, you were Moist out all the way until the Conference League final where you guys won the cup. To tell you the truth, right? Sitting in this panel here at this moment, right? You are the only guy that has held the cup, right? Last season, we all held zilch. You can see, and of course we've gotten rid of our manager. Apart from, of course, Arsenal still sticking on to Arteta, right? That will be sooner or later. We'll find out what will happen because, like Mani is saying, right, Arteta is already renegotiating a new contract. But if you really do get rid of Moyes, the managers that you've been talking about, do you think you really have a chance of getting them to go to West Ham to manage West Ham at this moment in time?
Well, you know what, Eugene? I want the owners to show ambition because I'm actually very tired of the owners not showing ambition. As much
You
as
want a cup? You want a cup? Isn't that ambition? Look at Spurs.
I appreciate that. I appreciate the comments coming in, but let's be honest, West Ham are a big club. I'm saying it as truth. People who don't say West Ham are not a big club, I don't know what else to say about that. Okay, I feel, and I'm being on. I feel as though a lot of the pundits from talks. Okay, I've been watching a lot of the after the game. Right, you see Talk Sport coming out. Okay, they talk a lot about Moyes, and to be honest, and people like Rio Ferdinand, right? I'm very tired of the comments they say because they don't understand where as Western fans we are coming from. They think that Moyes has done a good job. They see what is from the outside picture that Moyes has done a good job. He's won a trophy. He stabilized the club. That's it. They don't see that. If you ask whoever it is in the pundit section to go and watch 15 matches of West Ham, right? I'm saying right now, and ask them to give back an answer. Let's say we ask a pundit to go and watch, let's say, 15 matches of West Ham. Ask them to give you an opinion, then they'll let you know. But the problem is they only see like the result. That's the problem with these pundits. They don't give like whether it's okay. I don't want to say names, but I'm just giving an opinion. We need to be ambitious. That's what I'm saying.
Kashyap, let me just cut right in here. First of all, let me say that I do admire your ambition. And as an Arsenal fan, I tell you what, if some of our fans had the ambition that you've shown, we'd be in a much better position, demanding better from our own manager, who sometimes, vacillates between this high press system, and also at sometimes playing very slow, pragmatic stuff, which doesn't really do very much. And we have a manager who also can be very tactically a little bit, clueless at the worst of times. And some of our defeats have been down to his poor tactical management. I think the reason why the pundits are at times maybe patronizing, and I do agree that given your history, you've won quite a lot of things. In fact, you probably have won more European silverware than Arsenal, I think. If memory serves me right, you won the European Cup Winners' Cup. I think you were Intertoto Cup winners. And now, of course, you've got the Conference League. We only have 2 European trophies, and we have the nerve to call ourselves an even bigger club. What gives us the right to go about with some form of chest? Now, I do wonder, basically, as I mentioned, if the injury to Paquetá earlier on in the season has not hampered you a little bit, because when he was in the team and you had the other players playing, you lot looked really, really good. I just think that, some factors have contributed to that. And I know that West Ham over the years, how can you be a big club and never been in the Champions League? Look, every single club will have its time in the Champions League. I'm pretty certain of it. It will happen. Given our European record, we might as well have never been in the Champions League. So it is what it is. I would go on to say that maybe a new manager would be able to try to change the style a little bit, and I do agree that maybe Moyes has to, Moyes' inability to really evolve in some ways tactically can cost you. But having said that, you have gotten some good results, and never mind the Conference League, you also had an excellent run in the Europa League the previous season, albeit at the cost of your league form, I think, if memory serves me right. But all I will say is that you are not too far away from actually being a fairly consistent team, and there have been times when you've shown a little bit of. They are a medium-sized club with a big stadium they don't own. Oh boy,
Okay.
Ben, you really are getting those punches in, aren't you?
I think
Yeah,
Ben has got an affinity for West Ham.
I get that. So
Benjamin Kaufman, ladies and gentlemen.
this isn't really a means of trying to patronize West Ham, and I'm not saying that you should settle for the best, but I think the pundits are saying that West Ham are a much better team than the those poor results have otherwise shown. And for the most part, you definitely have produced some good results. And don't forget, you lot deservedly beat us at the Emirates. And of course, when you win, nobody really looks at the goals that you score, how many goals you scored. It's the points you earn at the end of the day. And sometimes, people get so carried away with the fact that, there are so many things to look at other than the result, the field tilt, the XG. And so many people use that as a means of trying to support Arteta to me. But several of my fellow Arsenal fans will tell you right now that the only stat that matters at the end of the day is the amount of points that you've won and whether or not you actually won the game. And Daniel E, I think, given, look, Potter's peak came at Brighton and Hove Albion. He never should have taken the Chelsea job. And I think it's fair to say that given that chastening experience there, where he never even lasted a half a season before being fired, I just don't know if he will literally be willing to, get his foot back into the water. I mean, it could very well be that he is so much of a damaged commodity that no real club should go in for him, and maybe he wouldn't want to go back in so soon. But Ash, I'm sorry, I will let you come in, but I'll finally say, Keshav, that this season I think West Ham should be able to finish at least somewhere like about 7th or 8th. You can still do some good things. But maybe wait until the end of the season, then review everything. But I think David Moyes overall has done a very good job for West Ham.
Yeah, I know. Look at what Ben said, right? Just stating the facts, Tottenham fans think we are a big club when we don't win anything, and we are a rich club and not a big club. Tottenham fans are far bigger club than West Ham. We are not big either. No,
yeah,
so
as you said on Craig Beasley's podcast, you become too big to fail.
Yeah, too big to fail. But the thing is that we don't achieve anything, right? We are too big to fall. You can say no. The Spurs fans' problem is they got this, Chris will understand this, right, Chris, right? We have this PTSD thing, right? We nearly became non-existent, right, just before Alan Sugar came and rescued us, right, Chris? If I'm not mistaken, right? Because during the Scholar years and all that, Scholar nearly bankrupted us, right? And Sugar came in and bought us over and sustained us for a couple of years. And that's when Enoch came in and started to buy shares in the Spurs, because Daniel Levy is supposedly a Spurs fan. And, that's our history with Enoch and Daniel Levy until today. But what Ben is trying to say is that, we've been classified as a big club because of our finances more than what we've achieved, in our trophy cabinets, just winning one League Cup in the past 14, 16 years or so. So, but for being a West Ham fan, I understand what Keshav is going through, because we went through his feelings when we had Mourinho, Nuno, and Conte. Every football fan want to see their club play that beautiful game, that attacking game. But if we don't achieve a trophy or two along the way, it defeats the purpose, right? But of course, let me get back to Ash. Ash, you were about to say something. Sorry.
Yeah, I just had a quick quick note on Graham Potter. I think that the Chelsea job is just like poison chalice. I don't think anyone comes out of the Chelsea job looking good, and especially under Todd Bowley. So I don't think that anything like that stint does not say anything about Graham Potter as a manager. And I think that he is looking for clubs, and I think that whichever club ends up getting him, and if it's West Ham, good for them. I think that they'll do well. Like Graham Potter would do well for West Ham. And I agree with Ben. I don't think either club is a big club. Spurs is a rich club, not a big club. Until we win something, I don't call ourselves a big club.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Let me go through the chats. Of course, Kumar21 says that Mani is a breath of fresh air, being a Guna fan. Big up to Mani. And of course, Donna Cullen, Wakwan, big up. And of course, Donna Cullen saying hi to all the guys in the panel, right? And of course, to Chang, Ni Hao Ma. Okay. Ni Hao. We're all Hao. We're all good at the moment because it's Chinese New Year. But okay, coming back to Keshav's dilemma we're talking about, right? We've been through that kind of a scenario. We've gone through it. Now we've got Ange. Okay, we're playing back the way that we want to see our game being played. But like I'm sure, like what Chris and I will feel is that we've seen this type of football before, right? And if you say during the 80s and maybe the early 90s, we used to play that kind of football, but along the way we will win a couple of cups here and there in that decade or so, right, Chris? But we've come to this new modern era, which we have seen our finances go up. We build up a big stadium. We get all the money in. We are considered the top 6 in the Premier League, all right? But on the trophy-wise, right, we haven't done any much better than West Ham. You get what I'm saying? So I guess in the end, it's in the eye of the beholder how you want to see your club and how you want to see your club move forward, right? But while West Ham being in this scenario now, if what Ben says, if you do get in Graham Potter, even though let's say not this season, maybe next season, maybe you will have to go through another rebuild again and see how that goes. And like Ash is saying, to my surprise is, right, Potter has been without a job for nearly a year after he's been let off from Chelsea. And why hasn't he been picked up and been brought back into a Premier League club? That's my perplex. I'm being perplexed about it. Or is he because since he's been the manager of Chelsea, he wants to at least manage a club with a higher profile instead of going back down and maybe why shouldn't he take over the job in Everton? Why doesn't he take over the job in Crystal Palace? Yeah.
Yeah, because they're saying that Roy Hodgson is going to be sacked.
Yeah, Roy Hodgson's going to be sacked soon. For all you know, if West Ham doesn't move for Potter, Crystal Palace might, right? So
no. Crystal Palace, Eugene, apparently trying to get the former Frankfurt coach in Oliver Glasner, and of course Keshav will know him very well because he was of course the Frankfurt coach that, I'm sorry to mention this, Keshav beat West Ham in the semi-finals of the Europa League. But you know,
And they won if not mistaken, they won the Europa League that year too,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes, yes,
The
yeah.
Glasner. Yeah, yeah. So if they're going for if not mistaken, we were linked to Glasner too last season before Ange came in. The manager, we call merry-go-round goes around again. But coming back to all this, right? Fans, I mean, of course, like what you are saying, Keshav, is very true. Potter has brought you to that level, and now is whether your owners want to go to the next level, which it reflects to us Spurs fans too, right? Potter brought us to the next level, and while we were wanting to go to the next level, we never achieved it because our owners didn't give Poch the players they want. But this is talking about players and managers, but more or less it's similarity in certain ways. But uh, would you, Kesha, give Moist a chance to at least try to get to the final of the Europa League? Or would you think that enough is enough?
Um, I'm saying that it's enough. Enough is enough. Actually, I'm very like, in a way, I do feel, in a way, I feel upset and angry of Moyes, but then at the same time, I feel sorry because of the way how it's ending. I don't want it to end like this for him, but if you see the pro, I feel like Moyes is trying to. If you look at his press conferences, he's trying to talk about West Ham in the past. So, for example, when a lot of the media, like whether it's the reporters or in the press conferences before the game,
Okay, if you talk about past, right? Let me give you like Daniel E says here, right? You've got, when was the last time the big manager was, it was Pellegrini. Okay. Do you rate Pellegrini over Moyes?
um,
But Pellegrini's not won you anything.
well, I rate his style of football, Pellegrini, but of course, the style of football didn't get you results. Of course, that can happen. But what I'm trying to say here is that uh, the football we are playing, I'm saying, is not sustainable. And Moyes is, I feel that we've started the season so well that I feel it's coming down as a slope. It's like slowly coming down as like we're ending it very badly. And as much as I appreciate what Pellegrini did before, the way it ended, I think when he left, we brought in a goalkeeper that time, and he was actually really bad. He was a bad goalkeeper. I forgot his name. I think it was Roberto, Spanish goalkeeper, one of the worst
Mm.
signings we had. And he was such a bad. He's like, he reminded me like Onana, a lot like Onana, that bad.
Dom is not here.
But I think probably worse than Onana. But when Pellegrini came, he did well with Felipe Anderson. He did well with Lanzini was there. Fornals, all these players did very well under him. But then the results didn't come in at the second season. Yes, he got us top 10 that season, but then after that, it was the results. The style of play did not affect the results well. So that's why I got the sack. But what I'm saying here is Moyes needs to go. I think that we need a new manager that understands the club. I feel that the fans need to be entertained. We need to get rejuvenation. The squad needs a rebuild. And I feel like we have such good players in our team. We need to start using the youngsters. Yeah. You know, uh, like you said, Academy of Football. What's time in the stadium, our name puts there as Academy of Football, and we're not even using our players, our youth academy players. And that's why I have my problem. The problem is more. See, a lot of the managers in the Premier League love using their youngsters, whether it's from Thomas Frank, whether it's from Jurgen Klopp, Pep, whoever it is. They seem to have that trust in youngsters. Whereas Moyes, they just regularly use them in like one game, two games. That's it. And then if they're not fit for the team, you pull them out. You see, as a manager, you need to have that camaraderie, that the compassion when you nurture that young player. And Moyes has, I'm sorry to say, he doesn't have any of that. He
Okay,
seems
to be
to,
fair.
I feel he seems to he doesn't give players chance. The signings he's brought in, some of them I've gotten right, like Bowen, Kudus, Alvarez, Ward-Prowse. I'm sorry to say, Calvin Phillips actually has been very poor. I think the past 3 games he's done nothing, and he's very slow. I'm sorry, he's not actually done anything for us, and he didn't even
Mm,
track back in the Arsenal game. Even the Man
mm.
United goal leading up to the third goal, he didn't even track back also.
I don't know.
But even
Maybe you all
the
thought bringing Karen Phillips was a replacement for Declan Rice, but I guess that this doesn't show it's going to be working out. Right? But maybe he needs a few more games to be more acclimatized to the West Ham
yeah, I
style of
hope so.
play.
I don't get me wrong. I hope he's a good player, Calvin Phillips, but I feel he needs time. But coming back to Moyes, I want a reaction against Forest. We're playing Forest next. I want a reaction.
Okay, fair.
It's important, and if we lose against Forest, it's we've got 4 winners.
But
We have
Keshav,
a
I think wouldn't you want a result for the Europa League first, right? Because you're playing the last, in the knockout stages now, right? That's the main thing that he has to focus on now, getting you through the next stage of the Europa League before even thinking about the Forest game.
Do we have a game in Europe? I don't think we have a game this week in Europa League. No, we don't
You don't
have.
have a game this
Yeah,
week in
yeah,
Europa
it's
League.
We
it's
don't
the
have a game.
playoff games now.
No, we don't. We're not playing the playoffs. We are playing in
No, yeah,
the
that's what I'm saying. You're not playing the playoffs. The playoffs
yeah
are taking place tonight, and you're not there.
Oh,
yeah
okay, so that means you guys already in the next round
yeah.
of the
Correct.
32.
Yes, yes.
There's a playoff round
Yeah.
for this to come in. So you guys are still okay.
Uh,
To be fair, you're not
yeah.
playing in the middle of the week, and losing 16 to Arsenal could be giving you all more time to get over the
Yeah.
loss. But of course, I'm sure, Keshav, you've been voiced out since last season, right? On every show you've been voiced out, so maybe you'll be getting your wish soon. But let's see how that goes. Like I say, the Forest game coming up. Yep, that could be the test for Moyes, right?
Well, I hope so, and we need a reaction. I think Antonio's coming back. Paqueta, I'm not sure when he's coming back, and we need to have a response.
Mhm.
Um, we need to have a response, and Moyes needs to be held accountable for the game against, of course, the players, yes, but needs to be held accountable again for that display against Arsenal, because that display against Arsenal to me was very worrying. And to be honest, when you go 4-0 down against, okay, when you go 3-0 down against Arsenal, right, at least show some fight. We didn't show any fight against Arsenal. It's like the players just give up, and I do want. I didn't expect that. Expected a bit more fight, graft. That's what you want from them, to push harder to get the ball. It's like when teams press us, we don't know what to do, and this is why I find it, sorry to say, a bit irritating with was Moyes. When you have a defensive manager like that, and you don't know, like Liverpool, we lost. You know how we lost 5-1 to Liverpool because they pressed us. We don't know what to do because the constant pressure you apply every time, you eventually catch up to you, and then they will crush you. And that's what Arsenal did, Liverpool did, and like the players gave up. And I'm sorry to say, but our defensive partnership is gone. Zuma has got no legs to track back. I'm sorry. Agard has come back from the AFCON. He's not done very well. Alvarez, I think Alvarez is the only player in Bowen who put in the shift that day. And I watched the game, and Agard was putting the long balls, and you need to have a target man to put those long balls. And I was thinking, you need to have a target man. You need to have somebody that's tall enough to able to stretch and get the ball, not Bowen, because Bowen is short. He's not able to go and run just to get the ball and push him, put it down to his feet and all. He can't do that by his own. So this, okay, I don't want to go on a run, but this,
You're really on a rant, so continue.
but um, what I'm saying here is that it is disappointing. It is hurtful to lose 6-0. It is, and you look, when I was watching Moyes post match, and it just makes me very, like, I don't know. It just he keeps
Depressed.
giving those same comments. He just gives those same comments. That's why those. I'm sorry to say, the press conferences are very boring from him. It's like the media don't give any proper comments. Why don't you put these players? Why don't you give them a chance? They don't. They only ask questions like from the game. What are your thoughts? Oh, it's a bad result. They don't. You know what I mean. It's like you want to ask the questions like the players what they do. You get what I mean? Those type of things. But the problem is the media they don't like to give them because then Moyes to do Moyes to try and retaliate back. That's the problem. Even in the
Oh,
even a
Kesha,
Man
for
United,
all you know, the media has been given a vetted kind of question, to that the manager will answer. So sometimes we do not know what's behind the scenes, right? Certain questions might be asked, certain questions might not be asked. It all could be a narrative, right? But okay, have you any more? We all know, right? Being a West Ham
yeah.
fan is going to be
But
very disappointing. Because what that was it. Danny was saying, if we lost 6-0 to Arsenal, right? Most probably he will move out of the country or something like that. Somebody put up a message over there. It's sad, of course. Being a fan to lose at that kind of scoreline to another club, right?
yeah, yeah.
Being a
Agree on that.
Spurs fan, let's think, Chris. Have we ever lost 6-0 to no, we've not lost
7-2 to
6-0.
Bayern.
Yeah, but 7-2, was it across two legs?
Yeah.
No, it was in one game.
7-2 one game, but at least we scored two, right? That's why Keshav is upset. He didn't get the consolation goal that usually you get after a 6-0 scoreline, right? Okay. So, okay, big up to Jordan. Big up, Jordan. How you doing? Right. But guys, okay, we'll move on from West Ham, right? We'll come back. We have to come back to Spurs because this is Spurs channel. This is the first thing I'm going to put up. Elias, are you telling me Udoji and Poro is injured now, or are you just saying it if they are injured, right? So don't scare us, right? We are Spurs fans. We don't have backup for those two players, okay? And of course,
They are possibly injured. Poro has a muscular strain of some sort.
oh dear.
And Udogi is being assessed and hasn't trained all week. I'm not sure
Oh
what
dear.
either of them have, but it's looking like they may not play.
Okay, who are we playing next?
Wolves.
At home or away? I think away, right?
At home, I think.
We're playing Wolves at home. I bet we played Everton away. Brighton home. Yeah, okay,
We're
we
at
could be
home.
at home too. Yeah, okay, we're at home. All right. All right. According to Ben Copeland too, Udogi and Poro didn't train, right? So that could be okay. Maybe Dragosin coming in now is a good thing, right? We are Wolves at home at 3 p.m. Okay, thank God. Right, that's what Ben is saying. Okay. I understand what Keshav is feeling because to lose 6-0, the humiliation is hard to bear, right? But like what Mani was saying earlier, right? You did beat Arsenal in the Emirates earlier in the season, but of course losing the 6-0 the points are shared, but for West Ham is that the goal difference might come into play later for West Ham. But you guys are not even fighting for relegation, so I don't think you're too worried about that. Unless you said that you're fighting for a spot in Europe, whether you're trying to get into the Europa League or the Conference League, because
I
Champions
hope we get into the Conference League. That's what I'm. Europa League, I feel this season is going to be tough because you got Milan and Liverpool, and I'm not too confident about that. Well, I hope we can, but I'm being a bit cautious about that. Well, in terms of Premier League finish this season, I'm hoping for seventh. I'm hoping for Conference League. I wouldn't mind that, but it's all going to depend on how West Ham play out, how West Ham are going to do, and whether we're up for it. And coming back to the fact that uh, we will see. I just hope we get a response this weekend. That's the only
Okay.
thing I can.
I mean, if you don't get a response this weekend, then the owners will have to more or less make a decision quickly before your season collapse, and then you can't even get into Europe. Right? I guess that's what the aim is for at the moment. But okay, guys, I think we've had enough of the West Ham talk, right? At this moment in time, we'll go to the Spurs versus Brighton game. Since we are Spurs channel, we are Spurs fans here on. But before, I won't get the opinions of the Spurs fans. I'll go from neutral first, right? I'll go to Mani. Mani, did you watch the Spurs Brighton game and give us your thoughts on it?
Sadly, Eugene, I didn't, and or I was actually trying to, follow the game as it was, going on, because that particular day, if memory serves me right, was the day of the Asian Cup final between Jordan and Qatar. So I was doing a watch
at the same
along, of
time,
course. I was doing a watch along for that. Shout out to Hanno Trollope and the
Yeah.
Coach's Corner. And, I was also, trying to provide some halftime updates from the Premiership games as it happened. So sadly, I couldn't see that. And I will say, of course, that the return of Madison and Heung-min Son couldn't have come soon enough. I mean, one of the more famous Asian American actors was a guy named Kie Luke, God rest his soul, who made his name by being a number one son of sorts. You've got your own number one son, and you should be glad that South Korea lost in that semi-final. And to any South Korean fans who are watching, Gogama and everyone else, the sooner you ditch Jurgen Klinsmann, the better. But
Zombie football.
yeah, so I mean, obviously Brighton did. I did see quite a few of the highlights though, and obviously Brighton did have some of their moments, and Vicario did make quite a few saves. And obviously, when Pascal Gross scored that penalty, I thought this could very well be a bit of a long game. But I have to say credit to Spurs, because this is not the type of win I would ever see them earning under Ange Ball, given the way Ange likes to play. And so to fight it out, to secure a win with a breathlessly late stoppage time winner from Mr. Johnson, that isn't too bad. And for what it's worth, you now are still very much in the mix for Champions League qualification. And it does look to see that it does look to me that in as much as Ange is staying true to his footballing philosophy and trying to get Spurs playing a certain way, you lot are also learning to try to be a little bit tougher. And I mean, you're certainly not trying to just be a little bit callous and throw it away like you did when Poch came calling back to the Tottenham Stadium with Chelsea. I mean, that game was so bizarre. I didn't even know how I could even fathom that particular game. The less said about that, the better. But
Yeah.
you know, sometimes you need your share of wins like this, and I think it's good that fans like Ben are saying, you know what, far from being the stuff of champions, this is an example of how lucky we were, and we have to stay humble. Please tell that to those morons at my club who were gassing up that win over Bournemouth with that breathlessly late Reece Nelson winner. Fat lot of good that did us that day. So I'd say a decent win under the circumstances. Brighton are no pushovers by any means.
Fair.
Of course, this is the city Brighton lost 4-0 to Luton Town. That was as freakish a result as you can get.
But Manny, don't underestimate Luton. When they actually do play their football, they do look quite impressive at times. But I think maybe lack of experience, and especially at home, right? They're very good at home. So that's what I think Luton, they do have impressive football when they do get into the air.
As someone who saw his Arsenal team secure a very jammy 4-3 win at Kenilworth Road, thanks of course to a certain Mr. Rice, who Keshav will know very well, I am not in any position to underestimate Luton. Believe you me. But for Brighton to get blown away that way, it was bizarre.
Yeah, that was bizarre. Yeah, and it's always bizarre results, right? Like what Ben says, right? The magic of football is, the better team lost during that game, right? So, but okay, let me get to Keshav. Keshav, did you watch the Spurs Brighton game? And any thoughts on it?
I watched a little bit of it. I watched a little bit of it. I thought it was good game between both attacking teams, I would say, this season. And I have to give, Tottenham have, this is what my thoughts are on Tottenham, right? Last season, under Conte, they were more of a defensive team like West Ham, more like sitting back, trying to get basically a result team. That's how I would say. And I think the fans are getting upset and all. And then it didn't end well for Conte or Spurs. But I think what Spurs have done this season is actually quite interesting because they've actually appointed a director of football in I think it's Aston Villa director of football if I'm not mistaken, Lunch I think
Yeah,
if it's
yeah.
and
Johan Lang.
Postecoglou, yeah, Johan Lange, yeah. And I think what I like about Postecoglou, he seems like a very he's very into his possession based football and high intensity pressing, but not just that. I've watched a lot of his interviews. He's a funny guy, but not just that. He's a very down to earth like manager. He's that type of like manager like a Klopp. I feel like Ange is that. Um, he's very meticulous. Like he's very good in the tactical shape. But what I say is that when you have players like Madison and Richarlison, he's able to get. I can see now that he's able to make use of Richarlison. He's scoring a lot of goals now, getting a bit of momentum. You can see like I don't see Kulusevski though. I don't see. I think out of all the players, I don't see Kulusevski scoring that many goals. If I'm right, he's not. I would say Kulusevski's not really a mobile like quick player. I think he's more of an assist guy, like putting in the crosses for somebody, or I don't know. That's how I feel. But I say Spurs look more of a threat now. They look scary. I'll say under Ange. They look more threatening. They look more like the likes of Udogi at the left, which he's quick and he's PC, and you have Poro who's able to score from long range, and you have your robust midfield with Papesa and I forgot Madison and who are your other midfielders? Hoiberg and
Skip Bisuma.
Abisuma. Yeah. So yeah, that's why I like not to. Okay, I'll say here I like watching Spurs right now. Sometimes I do watch Spurs in a while because I like their football. I want their football. Let's be honest here. I really like right now Spurs football, and it's enjoyable to watch. That game showed that both teams had a goal, and Brighton. I felt they were a bit off in some parts. I mean, I feel like Brighton when they have like they. I think Welbeck, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know whether Welbeck. I think Welbeck played, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
Yep,
he
do.
did.
Welbeck played. Welbeck got the
Welbeck
first
played.
penalty.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And when you see, I think Welbeck with that with that partnership, Welbeck and Pedro, or Welbeck and Ferguson, they do really well. And with Brighton and De Zerbi, they've done wonders actually. The recruitment, youth academy, bringing the youngsters, attacking football, they've done really well. So I think Spurs are a bit lucky in how they've scored the last goal. But other than that, I would say nothing much to comment really. I think it was a good game between both sides. But I think Brighton should have converted their chances. And I think, yeah, I think Spurs were just a bit lucky, really. Um,
Mhm.
but credit to Spurs, though. I think they are. I think also, to be honest, I think Spurs have not having Champions League has helped because of the fitness as well as also having the
Squad depth.
not
Our squad
Scott.
depth has to be talked about.
Uh,
Yeah.
you it's like there's more energy in your team. It's like they're not running out of fuel or gas. That's what I'm seeing. So look, I think the thing about Spurs is the players are coming back at the right time, I feel. So I think it's helping you, and yeah, it's so yeah. Let's see how Spurs finish, but it'll be interesting to see. Spurs are fourth, so yeah.
Okay. All right. Before we get to the Spurs fans on this panel, right? I'll have my say first before I get to Ash, then Chris and Chang. Okay, I'm gonna say this first, right? You guys out there, right? Son Heung-min is world class. Okay, Ange has said it, so end that conversation. Don't have to argue over it whether Son is world class or not. Son is world class, right? Spurs fan has this argument whether Son is world class or not. Being Asian, of course, I'll say Son is world class, but a lot of people still don't think Son is world class, but I do. And just said Son is world class, having a world class player, putting in that world class assist, right, to get that winning goal. Of course, we were still very lucky that Brennan Johnson got the goal into the net because that ball was like going far up high, right? And I was doing that watch along in the Mamak store, right, with the Spurs fans, and they were saying, why are we playing like that? Why is Werner doing this? there were so many complaints on that day when I was sitting and watching the game along with my fellow Spurs fans, right? But in that day, we got the win, playing like a piece of shite, right? And still winning. I will take the win, but as I can see it now, I think with the players being injured and coming back, we are still going through a gelling period again, right? So hopefully the next 2, 3 games we will scrape through, and then maybe we become more smoother, right? After maybe in March or so, and of course April will be coming in. That's when we'll dread it. That's when we're going to play most of our big 6 clubs and teams and coming to the close end of the season, right? But what I'm going to say is that I'll take the win, but I won't take the performance as a plus because we need a lot of work in our performance, right? So Ash, Son is world class, right, Ash?
Absolutely, Son is world class. There was never any debate in my mind, at least. And Nick, I nearly spat out my coffee when I read your comment. So Emerson is definitely
Please,
not world
Nick.
class.
Which Emerson is
Um,
he talking about?
yeah,
Royale.
the coin money. Pardon me. So yeah, I think it wasn't the best performance, and we were really lucky to get through that game and get those points. But on the other hand, there have been games like that for us too. The Aston Villa game, for one, I thought that we should have won that game. There are a few of those, where I thought that we should have sort of like snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. So sometimes these things, they go around, they come around. But I will say that we need to work on that midfield because it's been chopped and changed so many times over the season that we don't have a steady midfield, and I think that's really hurting us because we don't have prolific goal scorers to begin with. So the midfield has to constantly supply them. It puts a lot of pressure on them. uh, and Ben's right. Like what happens is sometimes when our fullbacks invert, they're kind of sitting on top of each other. Like there's not much space between them, so then they can't find pockets of space because they're all sort of like running into each other in the midfield. There's just too many people in the midfield at that point to sort of get, to have that ball sort of like channeled through and find an outlet. Because everyone is sort of like uh, really close together and stuck together. And the only way that outlet can be found is if our wingers go really, really wide and then stretch out that midfield. Where if you've inverted the fullbacks, there is somebody in the wings that you can channel the ball to. And unfortunately, what happens is that our wingers don't know how to time those runs in a way that they don't get caught in an offside trap. Which is why you see our both Johnson, Werner, all these people, they often get caught in our offside traps simply because of that, because they don't know how to stretch the game without making a ill-timed run. So I think that there's a lot of work that has to go into training with this team so that this team understands how to play the game under Ange. So that will only come with time. I'm really sad that Udogi and Poro are injured because I feel like our defense is the only thing that was sort of like kind of clicking into gear for now. I know that sounds strange to say considering we haven't kept a clean sheet in forever. But the truth is that actually our defense is our strongest, like our strong suit. The way we play, the fact that we only concede 1 or 2 goals is miraculous. I'm sorry, it is. It really is. Especially because our midfield doesn't win the second ball. They rarely have do recoveries where you turn over, especially because Bentancur hasn't been in form recently. So I do think that we were fortunate to win that game, but I think that in the second half and those substitutions, I know that there were too many at once. But after that, when Pierre came on, I thought we sort of steadied the ship by then, and then we did slightly better, but not much better because I do think the final 15-20 minutes also Brighton had more control of the game. So really, we played 20 minutes well in a game, in an entire game, and it was enough to win us the game because we got back that goal because we were trailing 1-0. and from there on, it was just a matter of luck who scores next. Because it was just one of those ping pong games. So I just feel like uh, hopefully in the next game we see more controlled aggression, because I want a comfortable 3-0 victory. What happened to comfortable 3-0 victories? Like,
We don't do
I
that
don't
anymore,
want
Ash.
to be 4-3. Like I just, my heart, uh don't
Uh,
turn me into one of those heart patients. It's hard enough to support Spurs. Give me something, just a 2-0, a 3-0, just one another day in the park, once in a while.
I understand how you feel, Ash, right? But to tell the truth, right, sometimes games like that is the one that brings out that emotion in you, right? That makes you go crazy. Because while during watching that game, I was telling the rest of the guys, you watch, right? We're gonna score in the 90 something minute, very last minute, and it happened. So I was very happy for that. But it hurts, like, while it's not happening. And then when it does happen, right, then it becomes something, the feeling is a very kind of elated kind of feeling. But Keshav, you got to make a move, right?
Yes.
I'll catch up with you the next time, right? Hopefully you do
Okay.
well against Nottingham Forest, and maybe next week you come back on. You feel a bit more positive, right? Right,
Yeah.
Keshav, take care. Right, catch
Okay.
up with you
Thank
later.
you.
Thank you,
All right,
Chef.
bye
Yeah.
bye.
Thank you.
Right, and of
Bye.
course, before we go on to Chris, right? I would say a big up to Jason Bell. Big up, Jason. How you doing? Right, and of course, Scott M. Yeah, this is not Scott Munn. This is Scott M from Canada, right? So, Scott, if you want to join on to our show, let me know. Right, I haven't seen you do shows in a long time. Let me know. I'll send you the link now if you want to. If not, you can come and join us in another show further on down, right? Because really miss your opinions on the game, right? Ash, any more thoughts on the Spurs Brighton game?
Oh, I'm good.
Okay, so Chris, I know.
Yes.
How did you
Yeah, I
actually
mean, a
feel?
lot's been said already, hasn't it? I mean, we started off poorly as we do. I mean, we nearly conceded in the first 50 seconds, and Vicario, did a good save. Yeah, I mean, as I said, we were poor in the first half. Brighton were pressing us, and they took the ball off Bentancur, which obviously went down in towards the goal area, and then Van der Ven, he caused a foul, which led to the penalty, and
Mhm.
Vicario went the wrong way. But we grew into the game, and then the second half, we came out, and then Ange made the substitutions and brought Sonny on, and that really lifted the crowd. They really, shouted and really got going, and that changed the game really. Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
That's true.
Their
And of
goalkeeper
course,
made some saves, but we kind of shot at the goalie, so I don't think those saves were that great anyway. But
yeah,
we
that's
kept
true.
going,
And to
and
tell
we
the
got the
truth,
goal in the end. Yeah,
yeah, to tell the truth, right? What you say is correct, right, Chris? I think Vicario has been actually saving our asses for so many games lately, right? Of
Yeah.
course, uh, when was the last game that we lost? If I'm not mistaken, we'll go back at least a few games back, right? Because we did draw against Everton, and then we did beat.
Are you talking
Who
about
did we beat?
Manchester City at home in the FA Cup?
That's the only thing that we lost. Yeah, after the FA Cup loss, then we've been more or less winning our games and not losing our games, right? I gotta give a big shout out to Kuba. How you doing, Kuba? Hope you're well, right? Hope you're well. But as what you're saying, Chris, is that I do put a lot of the kudos in the early stages when Vicario was actually, saving a lot of goals, and those were saves, not what you're saying. We shooting directly at the goalkeeper. That's like a back pass to the goalkeeper from our offensive forwards and all that. But a win is a win, right? And let me come to Chang. Chang, your thoughts?
So, from what I saw in that first half alone, it was just reminiscence of the Everton away, whereby we gave away that easy goal to Everton in the first half away at Goodison Park, and then again at home as well against Brentford. I believe it was Mope who imitated the Madison Dart celebration, and
Yeah.
it was almost like lightning striking twice again. for the third time running, not even twice, for the third time in a row. In the first half, we just didn't turn up, and it was just one of those matches where you felt that things weren't going our way. Not only were things not going our way, we couldn't even get the ball out of our half. I've lost count the amount of times we were caught in possession trying to play out from the back against Brighton of all teams. And that was so difficult. That was so painful to watch, especially the way I believe it was Benson who was caught in possession, and Mickey Van der Ven gave away a soft penalty, which, by the way, there's absolutely no debate. It is a penalty. There was contact, and credit where credit's due. The penalty was tucked away properly. But then again, this comes back to everything that we've done this year alone, from the away game at Old Trafford against Manchester United that ended 2-2, to the home loss, the very disappointing 0-1 home loss to Manchester City in the FA Cup. And then we just continue to make life difficult for ourselves for absolutely no reason. Well, I wouldn't say we should boss these games. We should at least be able to keep possession and not give away possession willy-nilly, the way we did against Brighton, which I thought was rather strange, seeing as how we have Madison back. We have Madison back, we have Pepe Matassa back, we have Bentancur, and we have the Zuma. And that's not even counting bringing on the likes of Højbjerg and Skip. So to me, it was a very, very big relief. We went into the halftime at only 0-1. I briefly went onto Jacob's channel, United Spurs of America, to do a halftime review, and we were just shaking our heads in disbelief. Like, this is how we're going to go into the second half of the season, playing almost like Conte ball all over again. It was almost like watching Conte or Mourinho ball all over again, whereby not only
But
were
Chang,
we not
I don't think it was more like Conte or Mourinho ball. It was just that we weren't efficient enough to break out of our own half. Like you said, we keep losing the ball. We were playing edge ball without the players who can play edge ball. You can see now. So that made it look really bad. That's why we were screaming at the top of our voices. We couldn't even put 3 passes together, right? And somehow or other we lose the ball before even reaching the
Yeah,
midfield.
because we're
So
not press resistant, right? Your midfield has to be press resistant. We couldn't cope with Brighton's press. We couldn't cope with Everton's press. There are a bunch of teams now whose presses we haven't coped with well, and I do think that that's just because our midfield doesn't have a passing strategy in place. Those, like 1-2s that they have to do, those quick passes to sort of get them onto the wingers, that they're not doing, and they're not winning the second ball. So every time the ball falls in the no man's land, or if it like if it's in the air and we have to fight for it, we are not getting those balls. That's it's always going to be the oppositions, despite the fact that we are a taller team than Brighton. So goes to figure.
yeah. Sorry to break your train of thought, Chang. Continue. Sorry, Chang. Go ahead.
Oh, no problem. Absolutely no worries. So that was the first half, summed up pretty much by Miss Ash and also by you, whereby we couldn't keep. Not only could we not keep possession, but we just couldn't get the ball out of our half. And in the second half, I thought that something needed to change very drastically. And so when I saw Sun Heung-min warming up on the touchline, I was so relieved. Like, okay, here comes the captain. Let's hope for a big change in the system and also in our tempo of play. And by some stroke of luck, and this really is stroke of luck, Pape Matassa, of all people coming back from the AFCON, he looked dead certain to have squared the ball for a Richarlison tap-in, but that was cut out and it was rebounded off the post for him to then stroke it into an empty net after the Brighton keeper was wrong-footed. And that completely changed the complexion of the final half hour of the game. After the leveler, when Son Heung-min and Højbjerg came on, I felt that it was only a matter of time before the next goal would be the defining goal that won the game. But there were some nervy moments before the 90th minute where Brighton looked to be on top. If you remember, there was one chance when Mitoma broke down the left and he absolutely skinned Pedro. He skinned Porro on the right, down his left flank, and I can't remember which striker or which forward it was. It was a very narrow miss by Brighton. It just shaved Vicario's left hand post. It was that close. If you look at the angle from the back, it was almost like if only that had been on target, it would have been a certain goal. And I was so relieved to see that go out. And mere seconds before we then broke forward to score the winning goal, Brighton themselves had another good chance that was ruled offside. And that also, I believe, also shaved the other post. So that shows you that there's still a work in progress with our defense and also our midfield. But thankfully, now with the likes of Pape Matata back, Bissouma back, Madison back as well, Bentancur, I feel he needs rest. He needs to warm the bench or he needs some timeout, as well as Kulusevski. I thought both Kulusevski and Bentancur, our Juventus signings from the previous season, have completely gone off the boil. They could really do with a lot of respite now that our international players are back. And this Wolverhampton Wanderers home game on Saturday couldn't come sooner enough for the likes of Dragushin and Ben Davies, even Emerson Royale, to prove their worth if indeed both Pedro Porro and Udogi are likely to miss this game. Our forward line isn't doing too bad, to be honest. Our forwards, like Brennan Johnson, I'm so glad that Johnson got his second league goal in 3 league games. And I just hope he uses this as the springboard or at least a platform for him to propel forward for the remainder of the season, because he still has a lot of doubters that he needs to silence in order to justify his price tag. Although I can see Big Ange giving him his full backing, he just needs confidence. The kid needs a run of games in which he gets.
But what I see with Brennan Johnson at the moment, right? He looks more more potent as a super sub, because if you put Brennan Johnson as a starter, right, he runs around and after a while he doesn't get whatever the scores and all that, right? But okay, before I continue, Ash is going to make a move, right? So Ash, thanks for being on, right? The other thing is that talk and ball and what other shows you're going to be doing.
So I'll be doing Talk and Ball with Chang on Wednesday, and then with Ellie on Friday. So we do a show called Asian Takeover or Thoughts from Asia every Wednesday. But you will see me next on Three Spurs Boys on a show called Cool in the Gang. So
You're
everyone.
going to go cool with the gang. Okay, good luck. Good luck with that. Cool with the gang. Okay.
See ya.
I won't say much, but I hope you enjoy yourself. But of course, before you go, give me a prediction for the Wolves game.
Wolves game. I think it might be. I might be 1-0. Like, I genuinely believe 1-0 Spurs.
We don't do 1-0, Ash. You keep forgetting. We don't do 0 score lines on our side.
Yeah, no, that's why I think that it's going to be one of those weird games. It'll be a 1-0 strange game. Like, I have a feeling, because it's been a while since we got one of those. So I think like a law of average.
And before that, but before that, Mani, who's Arsenal playing this weekend?
I believe we've got Burnley, if memory serves me right. Whoops.
Okay. All right. Burnley. Okay, Ash. Arsenal, Burnley. Who's going to win?
3-0 Arsenal.
She's so confident she
Arsenal,
predicts the scoreline.
Yeah. Okay. Ash, take care. Have a good time. Okay. Ash doesn't have her own channel. Yeah. Ash doesn't have her own channel, Mani. The channels that she's doing on the shows now is called Talk and Ball.
Talk and Ball.
Yeah, Talk and Ball. You go over there and give them a subscribe.
I think I might have subscribed to them already. I'll see them again soon. Yeah.
All right, Ash, take care. I think it should be dinner time for you now. So, bye-bye. Hope to see you on again, right? All right, we'll catch up again. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Ash.
Okay. Now we're down to 4. All right, guys. We'll go through the. We've already gone more or less. Okay, Chang, have you finished with the Brighton game? Any more
Yeah,
things to
I'm
add?
more or less done with it. I mean, if there's anything that I need to close, excuse me, if there's any summaries I want to make about the Brighton game, I just hope for more solidity at the back. The back four needs to sort itself out because that's like the sixth goal now we've conceded from our last 4 competitive games that are either a set piece, mistakes from our own defenders, 2 by Udogi in the previous game as well, which really was very, very disappointing. And now a penalty, a needless penalty, which was very, very similar to the opening game of the season when we gave away that needless penalty away at Brentford, if memory serves me right, by James Madison. So yeah, no, sorry, it was Son Heung-min. It was Son Heung-min who gave away that penalty at the opening match of the season. So these sort of defensive frailties, in other sports you could call them unforced errors. We really need to cut out all these unforced errors in future if we are to try to cement our top 4 ambitions. So yeah, hopefully between now and the weekend fixture against Wolverhampton Wanderers, Big Ange will have sorted out his defense and worked on an effective midfield. Maybe put on Sar, Bissouma, and Madison, which from the events of the Brighton home game looks very, very much on the cards right now.
Okay, to be fair, yeah. Like I've been saying earlier, right? A lot of players are just coming back from injury. A lot of players are coming back from international duty. Most probably it'll take us a couple more games to actually gel back to where we were before from the starting of the season, right? So that's how I see it. But before we go on to the, actually, I have another topic to talk about, but I'll just go around. Mani, is Arsenal playing away or home?
I believe we're away. We beat Burnley at home, so I think we're playing away.
So
All the way to Turf.
scoreline predictions for the Burnley Arsenal game, Chang?
I would say a comfortable 2-0 away win for Arsenal. Although I am predicting a goalless first half, I predict that Arsenal will come back very strongly in the final half hour of that match. I'm expecting maybe a goal in the 70th minute and one more counter-attack goal towards the end of the match for Arsenal.
Okay. Another question for Mani. Mani, are you playing in the Champions League this week, or you're on leave?
I believe we're playing next week. We've got Porto. This week saw City play among other teams, and also Harry Kane. The less said about his sojourn with Bayern Munich, the better. And next week we've got Porto, and the first leg will be in Portugal. The second leg will be back at the Emirates. I believe their home stadium is the Estadio de Dragão. If I've got the pronunciation incorrectly, Portuguese friends, please forgive me. But this is going to be a real test because people talk about how Arteta's the man. He has an awful European record. And the season he did reach the Europa League semi-final was our worst league performance in a long time. He had us 15th at one point, relegation form. And who knocked us out at the semi-final stage? Unai Emery.
Okay. All right. Your score predictions, Mani?
For Burnley, 3-1, easy.
3-1.
Burnley are going to fight hard at Turf Moor. They should be able to score, but we've got the measure of it. There's not going to be any of this discomfort in any way. We got it.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Let me give a shout out to the guys in the chat. Big up Friday. Big up Tottenham Way. I guess this will be Stelios. Big up Stelios. If it's not Stelios, let me know who it is. Sometimes it could be Iggy or someone else, right? But okay, Chris Agamba, Burnley, Arsenal. Who's going to win that game?
Hello.
Burnley's going to win.
Well, I hope Burnley 2-1.
Yeah,
But I imagine it'll be 3-0 to Arsenal.
Yeah,
The dice days are all
imagine
gone,
Arteta-
mate. The dice days, the dice days are all gone. Company's not doing that much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
That's true,
see,
right?
hopefully.
If Dyche, yeah, if Sean Dyche was there, right, we would have more confidence of Burnley not losing the game. You get what I'm saying, right? Yeah, but with company there, the way he plays, yeah. For my prediction, I think it'll be an easy 2-0, 3-0, 4-0. Arsenal might go out and do another route again for all we know, right? But honestly, as I see it, Arsenal and Arteta usually, right, will have one eye on the Champions League game. So an average about 2-3-0 could be a fair result for Arsenal, right? That's how I see it. But guys, we are coming back to the Wolves game. Chang, what's your prediction for the Wolves game?
I'm predicting a scrappy 2-1 win. I don't think Big Ange has enough time to sort out the defense quick enough for us to keep another clean sheet at home. My heart tells me that we're going to end the first half maybe being a goal down again. Although I do hope we don't do that. I hope we don't concede in the first half and maybe go into the halftime dressing room talks with more optimism. Maybe even a plan to scrape out a individual goal from somewhere to take the lead. If it's going to be a 2-1 narrow victory, I'm hoping Richarlison scores his 10th league goal, if I'm not mistaken. Oh no, sorry, it's going to be 11. His 11th league goal in
Son?
his chase for the Golden Boot.
Son
No,
has already got
Richarlison.
12. Oh, Richarlison's got 11?
I'm talking about Richarlison. Yep, Richarlison,
yeah.
not Son. I'm
Okay,
talking
guys,
Richarlison,
I can tell you the truth, right? I'm going to tell you this about Richarlison. Ever since Son has come back, right, Richarlison has lost his mojo. That's all, right? That's how I see Richarlison. When Son and the big names are away, Richarlison will step up. When the big names come back, Richarlison goes and hides somewhere. I don't know what's wrong with him. But okay, Scott M says it's going to be a 2-2 Son brace, right? So, yep, Wolves going to miss a lot of sitters, and we're going to say we had a brilliant defense. But what's your scoreline? 2-1.
Oh, it's
Chang.
2-1. 2-1, yes.
All right. Okay, I'll come to Money.
Yeah, I'll go for a 2-1 win as well. And interestingly enough, I believe Matt Doherty will be making his return to Tottenham.
Spurs. Yeah.
How funny would it be if he were to score Wolves' goal?
Yeah,
It wouldn't
that's
be.
true. That's true. It wouldn't be. Yeah, it wouldn't be. Yeah, but it would be somehow or another. Big up, Daniel Sandoval. Big up. How you doing? Right, how you doing? Right. But of course, okay, Chris, will you say it's going to be a comfortable 2-0, like a 1-0 game for like Ash is saying? Because I know we can't keep a clean sheet for nuts.
No, we won't keep a clean sheet. And I've a couple of seasons I've been to Spurs versus Wolves and we've lost, so I'm staying away from the stadium definitely this time. Yeah, I think we'll win 2-1. And
Okay.
I mean, they lost their last game. I can't think it was Burnley, was it? I can't remember who they played, but yeah, they lost the last game. So I assume they're going to, want to bounce back. So it's going to be a tougher game than we expect.
Mhm.
I think one of their Asian players is back as well, isn't he?
Yeah.
Hee-chan
Wolves,
Hwang.
Hwang is back. Hwang
He
is
didn't
back.
start
Hwang,
last
Hwang
game, so I
Hee-chan.
imagine he'll start this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. So I imagine he'll start.
So, everyone is going in for 2-1. So that's apart from Ash saying 1-0, right? I'll have a bit more confidence. Most probably I'll say it'll be a 3-1 game, right? So hopefully we will be able to do that. But I don't see us keeping a clean sheet, right? But guys, all you guys in the chats, right? Go over the Ben's channel. It's going to start in about 2 minutes time because I'll be closing up over here soon. Just go over there and say Spurs Vision Raid. And if you're not subscribed to this Spurs Vision TV channel, please subscribe. If you're not hit the likes, please hit the likes, right? Because I have one more topic, right? It's been on everybody's thoughts at the moment. It seems a bit stupid, but I still need to talk about it. The blue card.
Oh. It doesn't just seem stupid, Eugene. It is stupid.
Yeah, I know. Okay, we'll go through this quickly, right? Because Ben is going to start his show soon, right? Go over there and do the persuasion rate. All right, I'll go to Chris Agambar. Your thoughts on the blue card?
Oh, just ditch the stupid idea. Pointless.
Okay, that's a good and quick one. Chang, blue card.
Absolutely ridiculous. absolutely ludicrous and ridiculous. I mean, I get where the officials and maybe FIFA are trying to invent or maybe even try to come up with a way to officiate the game more effectively. But come on, I mean, unless you've done trials, unless this is something that is
I think no, hold
proven
on.
maybe
I
in
think
some test matches.
wait, Chang, wait. I think it's being trialed at the moment at the lower levels,
Yes,
if I'm not mistaken, at the youth levels.
Lower
It's being
levels, yeah.
trialed, but it's
okay,
not being
Yes,
pushed up.
yes,
Yeah,
yes, that's right.
it has not been pushed up to the the premier levels yet, right? That's how I see it. But of course, everybody thinks it's
yes.
ridiculous, right?
Yeah, but even if you do a trial for it, it's not a spur of the moment, maybe 2 or 3 months trial, and then you implement it almost immediately after the trial has ended. There has got to be a lot of feedback, a lot of investigation, and also a lot of criticism or even appraisal of this new blue card before you can actually implement it. It's almost like the VAR or even the fourth official at one point, where you need to do a
Line
lot of
technology, yeah.
trial and error, yeah, and experimentation. The worst part about implementing any of these new rules is that there are bound to be loopholes here and there. There are bound to be some glaring loophole that they've not fully thought about yet, and other teams might look to exploit it if it ever came to that. But until this is really proven to be effective, I really cannot see it being implemented anytime soon.
Okay, fair. Mani, your thoughts on the blue card?
It's blue. It's a bad idea. It's a stupid idea. It's a dumb idea. It's a clueless idea. You get the idea. Let's start. If you need to go and raid that channel, let's end it on that.
Right, we're clipping
Okay,
that.
for what I'm gonna say, right? Change the color to orange, then people will accept it.
And
Oh, dear.
orange, we glad you thought of that.
Yeah.
Yellow, orange, red, what an idea.
Yeah, that's why. See why make it
Yellow,
blue?
orange,
We make
red.
it
It's like
blue.
the hue is getting
Yeah,
darker.
the hue is getting darker, right? To tell the truth, Chang, I think to redirect it to the coffee company, I did just put Ben Hoffman's link into the chat, so people can just click on it, right? All right, guys. The blue card. My idea is that they're trying to. I don't know what they're trying to do, because the first thing when they say they put because it's for dissent, right? Disrespect, right? And cynical foul play. My first thought that came to my mind, right? What if the goalkeeper does that? If you put the goalkeeper into the sin bin, right? Who's going to take over the goalkeeper's position? And then they say it's either you sub a goalkeeper in and then you can't use back your old goalkeeper, right? Or you put an outfield player in. So if you guys want to change, to tell the truth, right? If you really want to change the game to make it more exciting and more goals, right? Scrap the offside rule. Don't put the blue card in. Just scrap the offside rule, right? And let the players stand on the goal line and then see what happens. If you want it to make more ridiculous, that's my idea, right?
Agreed
guys,
completely. And Eugene, let me just briefly answer your question by saying that in ice hockey, when a goalkeeper is, put into the sin bin, it's effectively an empty net. So everyone has a chance to, try and score an empty netter for, at that time, as long as he's off the field. And that's what makes it completely ridiculous, because we already have provisions to punish very cynical foul play. Dissent is already punished enough with a yellow card. It's just all I can say is, and I think everyone can agree with me on this, as the old saying says, if it isn't broken, do not fix it.
That's true. That's true. Okay. Guys, any last thoughts before we close the show and let the guys all hop over to Ben Kaufman's show? Chang, any last thoughts?
What can I say? This was a fantastic show. Everybody, everyone, from Mr. Chris Agamba to Mr. Mani, as well as to Miss Ash from Talk and Ball. This was an absolute fantastic show. I am very, very honored and pleased to have been part of this, and I simply cannot wait for this weekend's fixtures to commence the moment all the European fixtures have been concluded tomorrow with the Europa and the with the Europa and the League Conference matches.
Okay. Chris, any last thoughts?
I'm hungry and I'm going to make some lunch.
That's good. That's a good one. Yeah, it's past your lunch.
What's on the menu?
What's on the menu?
Whatever's
That's
in the
your last
fridge.
thoughts, Manny? Whatever is in the fridge. Last thoughts, Manny?
No last thoughts. Always a pleasure to come on. And Chang, I remember you well from the South Korea Malaysia watch along, and I share my hope along with both of you that this could be the beginning of a new wonderful chapter for Malaysian football. Mission 2026, the Americas.
The Americas, yeah. The Americas, then the World Cup. All right, let me say a shout out to all the guys in the chats. Big up to Scott. Right, who else do we have here? Daniel Sandoval, Bobby K. Right, of course, Elias, Step Up Spurs. Please go and give us a subscribe to Step Up Spurs. Stelios from Tottenham away. Always Iggy. Right, Friday. Who else do we have? Ben Kaufman. Ben has been contributing a lot in the chats, right? And of course, Nick Collison, big up Nick. And you all will know him as Barry, Nick, Ranjit. Okay, he's got a lot of names, right? Kuva, big up Kuva. Don't forget, Ash will be on Kuva and the Kang, right? Hopefully, Ash, Kuva be kind to Ash, right? I know what you guys do on Kuva and the Kang, right? And of course, Jason Bell. Who else do we have? Jason Bell. Who else do we have? Ben Kaufman, Jason Bell. Who else? Jordan, big up Jordan. Jordan's a Liverpool fan from Jamaica. Daniel E, thanks for being on, Daniel E, and contributing. Who else do we have? And of course, not to forget Donna Cullen. Big up to Donna Cullen. And Kumar21. Kumar's 21's on too, right? Thanks for all your support, guys. Thanks for putting your comments in the chat, right, to make this show more entertaining. Of course, we do have Chris Peters. And of course, Aneban Banerjee, right? Guys, take care, right? We'll catch up with you again next week, right? And let's see what happens. Will Burnley beat Arsenal, and will Spurs keep a clean sheet? That will be my biggest question, right? Are we all playing at the same time this week? I'm not sure. We are playing 11. I think 3 p.m. UK time, 11 p.m. Malaysian time.
Yeah, 3 p.m. UK time for Arsenal, and we're all at the same time, Eugene. The early kickoff is Brentford against Liverpool. The late kickoff is City against Chelsea. That's on a Saturday. Apart from that, Burnley, Arsenal, Fulham, Villa, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Forest, West Ham, Spurs, and Wolves, all at 3 p.m. UK.
All right. Okay. Guys, take care. We'll catch up with you again. All right. And as always, leave you out.